So many changes have happened in Phas. My goal here is to put out a quick vid to give folks that are in particular wanting to solo play and potentially looking up to scale their difficulty to a nightmare, some ideas, some gameplay tips that I've learned through solo play, and hopefully some things will be helpful for you. Hopefully this will enable you to build some confidence and play solo and ultimately play nightmare. Stick around to the end. I've got an extremely helpful bonus tip for you guys that you may or may not know for solo players in particular. My first tip to you guys today is to learn your maps, or relearn your maps, in this case if you've played for a while, which I think most have if you're watching this video. It's often I see in lobbies, and I confess myself when I run solo, I just take for granted that I know where to go. You know now if you've played after patches that many hiding spots either don't exist, have moved around, or are often blocked as you get up in difficulty levels. So as you go around the rooms, just register in your brain where you can go when you're getting hunted. I know it seems basic, but so many times you just blow through this thing looking for the ghost room, looking for cursed objects, that you forget the very basic thing. So my second tip for you guys is to utilize better equipment loadout. An advantage of running solo play is you don't need to bring as much stuff with you. You just don't have players to equip. You know, things like head cams, thermometers, anything that is duplicative or multiplicative. You just don't need that many. So my next tip for you guys is good hunt prep. And by that, I mean picking the right equipment. My experience, and in particular, when you're solo hunting and need that efficiency, I have kind of a top three and certainly a top two. One in particular that has become stronger and stronger, OP at some point here. Finding that initial ghost location, and certainly on large maps, is almost critical in my opinion. You may get lucky otherwise, but I'm not sure how you do it solo and just not get chain hunted without using it. I typically look for starter equipment that helps me kind of from a 30,000 foot view find the ghost. I used to love the EMF reader, but I find more and more that ghost does not trip that thing. If it's a ghost event, a door, something like that, sure, you may get lucky and you may run across a ghost and pick that up, but it seems a lot less than it used to be in the quote unquote olden days. So I find that less useful to start, although I wouldn't discount it. It's probably in my top three items to have. So useful, but not my first choice. My first choice is really the parabolic. This used to be a useless piece of equipment, but after a patch a couple times back, this became very useful. The refresh on it's faster, it picks up activity better, and at the end of the day, when you walk in a house, and in particular a big map, you have no clue where to go. Multi-floors, multi-directions. So you're going to find that this item in particular can be very useful. You don't need multiples. You know, I guess you could send multiple people off through a huge map with one. That's not a bad idea. But again, we're focusing on solo play. That would be my first item to bring and the one I would recommend. If you're not used to it, try it on some maps. My other choice is typically the thermometer. Very useful piece of equipment, but there is a little caveat. It normally takes a minute to be useful. You can still get lower readings in the area, but it may be harder to discern without that breaker in the house heat up. Those are my two favorite pieces. So now we've gone through some tips, ideas. I want to show a little gameplay how I approach a solo hunt and give you some thoughts there. Hopefully it'll kind of guide you. And in particular, as you move to a nightmare difficulty, again, these efficiencies and these things are very critical to work with. You're on a short timer, and in the end, your goal is still the same. In this case, the first thing I would do, we got a little noise, is I would try to find the breaker. Not in the garage, so it's going to be in the basement. Learn your maps. It's not super hard, right? Do your pass, do your search while you're in there. Make your loops around these maps, and once the breaker's on, and solo in particular, I like hitting some of the main room lights on. It just saves some sanity, it gives you a little more time, and there's no reason not to, right? Now, I've passed by this area a few times and gotten some noise. There was a 0.7, I got a 1 point around here, So I get a good feeling the ghost is in this area, potentially the hallway. So keep that in mind as we continue. More hiding spots. All right. So in this case, lockers in the garage are open. So that is a documented, remember that, running from the ghost hiding spot. Good thing, right? Make a note. So there we got a 1-7. I think we are in the right vicinity. Now, I'm walking around with my thermometer and it's in Fahrenheit. And notice I'm already at freezing right here. It appears to be a hallway ghost. I'm still getting freezing all the way down this way. Hallway ghost, super fun and tricky. Could be anywhere along here. And that's the initial spot, right? It can move and wander. It will hit doors along the way. There are lots of things hallway ghosts do, and they're very common, as you know. Now we know we have freezing temps and the ghost is in the hallway. Good stuff. I found the area, but I just want you to kind of see what's going on there. You guys know how to hunt the ghost. We've made it this far. Hopefully this has been helpful. I'm going to give you the biggest bonus tip for running anything solo, and it applies to all modes, and in this case, Nightmare, but professional, amateur, any of them. In particular, the professional nightmare modes, where your ghost hunt timer, your ability to set up and get going before your hunt timer begins, is 0. Bring all your equipment to the front door before you go inside. Your sanity doesn't start dropping until you enter the building and start looking around and hunting the ghost. Go ahead and bring the stuff you're going to need. In bigger maps, I think this is critical. I think if you're trying to avoid the hunt, you're trying to find the room, oftentimes it can take quite a long time. You're the only one looking. That's my pro tip, something to remind folks or encourage them to do. Grab the stuff you'll need on the hunt and put it at the front door.